I was a contestant on Squid Game The Challenge Season 2 for Netflix. If you don't know about Squid Game, first of all, it's wild that you're here. But secondly, it is a South Korean survival drama series that exploded in popularity whenever America got their grubby little hands all over it. Squid Game follows a group of people that have one thing in common. They're broke as hell. They are all individually invited to participate in a deadly series of children's games. Games like Red Light, Green Light, Tug of War, and some traditional Korean games for a massive cash prize. What they find out is that there can only be one winner. And if you're eliminated, you die. It's a show that took over the world when it surfaced, dominating meme culture and even now continuing to be the top of media with their final entry in the series, Season 3, that dropped late June. But in November of 2023, something crazy happened. Netflix dropped their new original series called Squid Game The Challenge, which was a reality competition show version of Squid Game The Drama series, where contestants competed for $4.56 million. Are you following? Are you following? In its first week, the show hit 20 million views on Netflix. It was the most watched English-speaking show globally, and it brought Squid Game The Drama series back to Netflix's global top 10. It dropped 2 years after Mr. Beast did his Squid Game in real life video, where they replicated the series and had competitors compete for only a measly $456,000. That left a lot of people thinking, that was it. So a lot of people were excited to see this reality show version of Squid Game done at the highest possible budget, including my wife and our friends. Watching this show, we were so instantly invested in these characters, their stories, and the drama. Dude, turns out when $5 million is on the line, people are really vicious. Then as we were finishing the last episode of the season, this scene played.
Are you ready to play Squid Game?
I immediately looked at my buddy Mason and said, dude, I'm gonna apply. So I did. I made a short video talking about myself, about how I'm a 6'3" Southern boy from a small town in Arkansas, and how I was a worship minister for 5 years, but this pastor ain't afraid to lie to win $5 million. So then I submitted it, and that was it. My wife and our friends laughed about the video, and we didn't expect anything to come from it. But I was wrong. Exactly 11 months after I sent my audition video, I got a call from the casting crew that said they liked it and wanted to move forward with me. I mean, I was blown away. I've lived in small towns in Arkansas my entire life. I would have never dreamed of getting a call like this. The casting director told me the show was being filmed in London and I would be flown to England if they chose me. I immediately called my wife, who was still at work, and explained to her the call I received, and also basically had to convince her it was real. Then I had to wait. Over the next few months, I had to do so much paperwork. I had to sign contracts, which made me an official employee of Netflix. I had to get a passport because I didn't have one. I had to get a physical. I had to have psychiatric evaluations. After that, I had a few more phone interviews, and then it was virtually radio silent for 2 months. This part was agonizing because I couldn't tell a soul because I had to sign multiple NDAs. But eventually the time came and I received a phone call while I was at work that I was selected for Squid Game The Challenge Season 2.
I got the call.
No, you didn't.
I'm going. I'm going.
Stop.
I just got it.
When?
Like a couple minutes ago.
What'd they say? Stop.
The turnaround from when I got the call that I was going to be on the show to when I was flown to London was 10 days. So when the day came, I realized I had to start vlogging this. This is it. This is the calm before the storm right now. I am getting ready to leave to head towards my local airport. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident, but I'm definitely feeling nervous. I know I'm going to miss my family a lot, and that's going to suck, but it's good. And I'm excited, and I'm ready to get this journey started and to just get there so my nerves can settle in. To start off the morning, my wife decided we needed to do some red light, green light drills because if you're familiar with the show, this is most likely the first game we're gonna be playing. This is my coaching staff right here. They're helping me get into tip-top Squid Game shape. Say Dad's gonna win Squid Game.
Ready, set, go. Stop. Go. Stop.
It was apparent that I was doomed from the start. So I finished up packing, which made my kid sad because she realized she couldn't play with my suitcase anymore. She was instantly better once we got in the car.
All packed up, ready to go.
It's starting to like hit me how absolutely insane this is that I'm about to get on a plane to go to another plane to go to London to go play a real life version of Squid Game. And then it hit me. I was terrified. I had never flown before. I had never navigated an airport, and I had no clue what I was in for. But luckily we stopped for Cane's Chicken, so I immediately felt better. Good to go! Then we made it to my tiny local airport, and oh my God, I was so anxious, and it was hitting me how hard this was really going to be. My small little airport was completely empty, and no one was there. We had about 2 hours to spare, so we ate some chicken. I took a nervous dump. My daughter Lennon made sure I didn't leave anything behind and then proceeded to play with my suitcase some more. We did some exploring, and then before we knew it, the time had come. Goodbye. Bye. Lennon remembered how to say goodbye with her hands as we said our very emotional farewells. Then I had an anxiety attack going through TSA by myself.
So I'm through with TSA now that I've said bye to my family and saw them leave, and now I'm having to do everything myself. It is like 10 times more nerve-wracking, and I'm feeling every single bit of it. I'm freaking out.
I eventually made it onto the plane. The very small plane. Then I went through the process of removing all of the terrible visuals of plane crashes from my mind. I recorded my reaction to the takeoff because I knew it would be funny. I sat back for some reason because I thought I was supposed to, like it was a roller coaster. Then I immediately realized no one else was doing it and felt embarrassed. My stomach twisted and turned in ways I was not prepared for. I tried to breathe and not look out the windows. Then the lights came on and we were smooth sailing from there. After the short 45-minute flight, I made it to the airport and received this congratulation video from my family. Yay! I still couldn't rest easy until I found my gate, even though I pretty much had like an hour to spare to find it. After some stressful navigating, I found my gate, got some food, and waited for my flight. My 8-hour and 40-minute overnight flight to London.
I'm here at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. I'm about to get on a plane to go to London for Squid Game, the challenge they said so.
The nerves immediately started back up again as I was getting on a plane way bigger than the last one. This plane was pretty epic though because it did have an iPad, which I completely ignored and watched WWE on my phone. The takeoff for this flight was way scarier than the last one. You could hear everything in and out of the plane rattling and making noise. But obviously, we made it in the air just fine. I checked out the bathroom and got a nice meal. And after many hours of talking to my wife and watching wrestling, it was time to try and get some sleep. Which did not happen. Like, I didn't get a wink of sleep. There was a sick lady sitting next to me who was coughing and hacking, and she didn't speak English very well. And it wasn't her fault, but it did not help. And I just did not get any sleep.
All right, we're here. That was an incredibly long flight. Sleeping was near impossible, but we made it. And we're here. In London.
Going through the border, I was asked what the purpose of my visit was, to which I handed them my paper from Netflix, which stated my business there. This lady grabbed my paper, held it up, and showed it to all her coworkers and said, I kid you not, hey look, this guy's here for Squid Game 2. Which immediately caused my main character syndrome to wear off because obviously I'm not the only one in the London airport flying from Dallas to be on Squid Game. At this point, when I landed, I didn't have any service because I didn't know how the SIM card swapping worked. So I was just freaking out and trying to get to the main part of the airport so I could have Wi-Fi so I could call my wife. We FaceTimed, and for her, it was like 3 a.m. And the whole time, it was just us staring at each other, realizing that we had to say goodbye for an undisclosed amount of time. Because being on this show, I was not allowed to have my phone, have any electronics, or any access to the outside world. So I was gonna be in the complete dark for her. So we really just stared at each other and we're like, all right, I love you. I'll see you later. And we just did that for a good 15 minutes. But eventually, it was time to go, and we said our very hard goodbye. Now, for this part, I am still under contract. I am not legally allowed to tell you what happens next and all of the crazy things I experienced before getting on set. So you should subscribe to my channel right now so I can tell you about it when that time comes. Like the video and leave me a comment of the things you want to know. This stuff will all help me, and one day we will be able to talk about it. But I can tell you that I was player 073. Going forward, here is your spoiler warning for episode 1 of season 2 of Squid Game: The Challenge. If you have not seen it yet, go watch it. I'm in it. I'm in the show. Go watch it on Netflix. It's streaming now. All you need to know is during this time, I made some really awesome friends. I met a guy from Kansas City named Dallas who is just a monster of a man. He is a retired master police officer. He's old enough to be my dad, but he is just the salt of the earth, the sweetest guy that I've ever met. I met a girl named Simber who we found out is also from Arkansas, so we bonded so quick, and she is awesome and just a light in this game. I met my buddy Timmy, who, while I was wearing a Terminal Nation local metal band shirt, he pointed it out and was like, "You're a metal guy?" And we just bonded instantly and talked about our local scenes and talked about our favorite bands, and he became my stand-in best friend for this whole experience. I met these two guys that were twins that were player 431 and 432, which was kind of adorable. They will become prominent figures later on. There was no shortage of amazing people that I met during this time, and the stories that I have to tell are just amazing, but they will have to wait until later. But fast forward, I walked in to the dorms. My eyes were met with the blinding white walls, the signature blue lining the room, and the towering bunk beds covered in players like buzzards. It was a 1-to-1 recreation. There were no windows, there were no clocks, there were no production crew standing around. I was there. I walked in with a group of players and we were met with roaring cheers. Everyone was hugging and cheering, and above me I noticed the drone flying, capturing this moment. I just tried to take it all in, realizing where I was at, and now that I was on camera, I was on Squid Game. But not only that, I was on Netflix. I took the opportunity to talk to as many people as I could, finding out where people were from, what they did for work, what their hobbies were, and then I immediately realized, why would Netflix use any of this boring small talk? I may get eliminated in the next game, so I better start amping up these conversations right now. I went to the first person I could find, and after our initial small talk, I looked him dead in the eyes, and I said, "Okay, are you ready for us to share each other's deepest, darkest secrets?" To which he said, "Haha, maybe later." What a buzzkill, dude. I had this wholesome moment where I went to this group of 10 old people gathered together with bright white hair, and I was like, "Hey guys, how we doing?" And I shook all their hands, and one of the guys said, "Oh, you came to join the old group, huh?" And the guy next to him said, "Who says we're the old group?" Then I saw my friends, which was such a wild moment because it felt so real after how immersive this whole experience had been. The first person I saw was a lady named Monica who gave me a big hug and just talked to me like she was so proud of me for just making it here, which is exactly how we all felt. We were all just proud of each other. The person standing behind her was Dallas. We shared a big broy hug and had a celebratory moment. Then I felt a poke on my shoulder, and it was Simber. And she asked a question that I wasn't ready for. She said, "Have you seen the bathrooms yet?" To which I was like, "Oh my God, no, I want to see the bathrooms now." I've never been so excited to see bathrooms before. She led me to the back of the dorms to another blue SpongeBob door, and through the door was a long blue and green hallway. Along the hallway, there are these bowling ball-sized cameras that are capturing our every move, and at the end of the hallway are a set of stairs, and then there's a bench on top with 2 cameras right here to catch all of the emotional crying one-on-one moments, I guess. Then down the next hallway, there is a dedicated bathroom and showers. This set is insane. We walked into the showers and were greeted by a large group of girls who all excitedly were like, "Hey, come on in." And Simber told them he hasn't seen the showers yet. I made a remark that it definitely felt weird. I was in the showers with this large group of girls, and it definitely felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. Then we checked out the bathroom, which had mirrors up front and 2 large camouflage cameras to capture all of your special diva moments. I then immediately sprinted to a stall to take my very first honorary squid dump. Now the feeling of I may have to live here is really creeping in. This is real now. I'm in the game. After we make our way back to the main part of the dorm, I run into Timmy, who's like, yo, what's up, bro? And behind him is someone named Sage, who I met earlier, who is hiding behind him. I look at her and I'm like, oh, there you are. And then I look down and remember she's player 001. And she tells me, yeah, I've been trying to hide this entire time because people are swarming her. Look, it's player 1. Everyone look, it's player 1. But then the stage doors open and the front man walks out. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There are a couple people that were there that they were familiar with the show, but you could tell they weren't fans. But everyone there felt the aura. Nothing was cooler than hearing,
Players,
that's me. He's talking about me. But then he said,
here you will compete in games and face many challenges, one of which starts now. This will require 2 volunteers to step forward. Also, welcome, Player 73. We're super stoked to have you here. You're like super handsome and cool and talented and stuff.
oh my God, thank you, front man. I wasn't expecting this. Everyone started cheering and yelling and chanting names, and then I remembered the twins. Now everyone is pointing at them and saying they should volunteer. Eventually, they gave in and walked forward. And during all of this excitement, I took a moment to look down. And what I noticed was the X and the O and the line dividing the dorms on the ground. This is a very significant part of the drama series in which a bunch of voting happens. And sure enough, as I look up, one twin is instructed to stand on the X side and the other on the O. Immediately, everyone around me starts freaking out. Wait, what are they doing? What's happening? But before we have a chance to even process that, we were then instructed by the front man to divide equally, one side on X and one side on O. Obviously, this is a mass elimination challenge. I look down and I am already standing on O, so I look at the O section to find my friends. And sure enough, I see Simber, I see Timmy, I see Monica, I see player 1, Sage, but I can't find Dallas. So I start screaming, Dallas! Dallas! And I have this really dramatic moment in my brain that this is gonna be great for camera. But then I find him just a couple feet away from me having a very calm, casual conversation with somebody. But just like that, we're locked in on the O side. But I'm like, what are we locked in for? Literally no one knows what this is about to be. X team is then instructed to leave the dorm. They're taking him somewhere else. And Simber is right next to me going, what if they're gonna go play red light, green light, and we're gonna play red light, green light? Or what if they're playing Dalgona and we're playing red light, green light? What if the goal is for one of them to finish first and they win and get to stay? Or what is this? But then there is a stage brought out with a button dead center of the stage. And at this moment, I realize O team is filled with people that have main character syndrome. They start pointing at people like, hey, you don't get on this stage. You better back up. Only our twin can stand here because we elected him. Then we hear the announcer's voice over the intercom.
Attention players. Only one room will survive this test. The other will be eliminated. This test is simple. All you need to do is count. Player 432 and player 431. Shortly, a timer will begin. When your room thinks that 456 seconds has elapsed, you must push the button. The room closest to 456 seconds will survive.
Our team, upon hearing this, of course, starts screaming at each other. A gear had switched. These people were filled with legit rage and hatred. These people are insane. During this time, our twin is just going, guys, please be quiet. Spoken like a true leader. It is impossible to get a word in during this borderline riot. Up in the bunks, there's a group of players who are screaming at the people who are agreeing with this plan, and they are arguing back and forth. I take this moment to jump in between them and go, hey guys, listen, I don't agree with their plan at all, but if we don't pick a plan now, we may be stuck without one. Thinking that, what a great line. This is definitely going to be used in the show. The people up on the bunks go, oh yeah, I guess so. And then they sit down. So I like to think that I had a part in this. Then suddenly, a man yells, if you could hear me, clap twice. And they clap. I am on a team with kindergartners. He proceeds to tell us, we chose this man. We need to give him a chance and listen to what he has to say. I didn't choose this guy. The twin takes this moment of silence to explain to us that he's gonna pick 2 counters. And then he says, who thinks that they're good at counting? And of course, everyone starts screaming at each other again. This plan sucks! What do you mean only 2 counters? We should have 10! We should all raise our hands when we're done counting! Now people left and right are screaming, if you can hear me, clap twice. But no one's doing it. It's a nightmare. Then Timmy leans over to me and says, we're totally screwed, aren't we? But then the twins' plan starts to unfold. 2 people are elected to be our counters, with seemingly no input from anyone at all. One being an older woman and one being a younger woman. Both are scapegoats, it seems, for this game.
Then we hear, attention players, your time starts now.
The dorm becomes dead silent. The quietest I have heard it since I have stepped foot in here. Some of my friends next to me have their heads down, counting quietly. I didn't bother counting because what was the point? The only thing counting in this moment would accomplish would be me saying, and I counted it right, whenever I retold this story to my friends and family. Then I noticed the older lady was counting like this. I leaned over to somebody and said, what is she doing? And they said, she's a nurse. She's doing chest compressions. That's not how you do chest compressions. She's going too slow. And she also can't keep that up for like 8 minutes. Then I realized this could very well be my last moments in Squid Game, so I took the opportunity to take it all in. So I got up and walked around. I then decided to go to the top of the bunks because I hadn't been there yet. I then see a group of players and I say, hey, how we feeling, guys? Then they all kind of like move out of the way, and behind them I see 2 people consoling this young girl who is bawling her eyes out. They seem to shoot me a glare, then the guy standing next to me goes, yeah, it's not looking good, pal. Obviously, our morale is at an all-time high right now. Then I make my way to the mid part of the dorm, still high up in the bunks. Now I'm looking at all of these people with their heads down, eyes closed, counting in dead silence. And the sight of this is just unreal. I'm fully taking it in. This is Squid Game. Even though this situation right now kind of sucks. I look next to me and there's a guy who seems to be in his late 50s, and I hit him with the same icebreaker I hit everybody else with. He hits me with the thickest Boston accent and goes, hey, how you doing, boss? Nice to meet you. We then both look back at the players counting, and he says to me, you know, I could have done it. I would have crushed this game. I say, oh yeah? How's that? He then tells me with unbelievable confidence, I was a bus driver for years. I count every day of my life, but I don't use numbers. I feel it. I guarantee you come back to me when this game is over, and I'll be 30 seconds off from perfect. I'm astonished by this because I don't see how being 30 seconds off would help us in any way, considering we need to be as close to the correct time as possible. But he was just so confident. So I said to him, oh yeah, man, that's cool. And I walk away and say something to the effect of, what the hell was that? As I go back to join my friends, I look out and see something concerning. I see someone on the I disagree with this plan side raise their hand, as if to tell us they're done counting. Then a moment goes by and she raises her head and notices no one else is done counting. And she's confused by this because obviously she's correct. She's the main character. But then another hand raises and they look up to see that only she is done counting. Their eyes meet and they start whispering like, we should be done right now. Then more and more heads start raising to see that our 2 counters are still going. Now all of them are harshly whispering to each other, growing in volume. Why are they still counting? We need to hit the button. We're gonna go over. We need to get them. We need to do something. Then people on the we agree with this plan side start hearing them. And now they're whispering back to them in defiance. They're like, no, sit down, be quiet, they're counting, don't distract them. Then I see something absolutely insane. A young guy stands up and walks towards one of our two counters as if to tell her to stop. As this guy approaches her, a guy covered head to toe in tattoos pulls him by the arm to the ground. I'm standing with my friends right now going, oh, did you see that? Then chaos breaks out. Everyone's screaming while we're still supposed to be counting, and then in the middle of it, he hits the button, locking in our time. There's a huge sigh of relief in the room. There's people cheering, there's people yelling. After this, everyone is breaking down what we just witnessed. But the overall consensus, we just lost this game. But I'm trying to be the emotional support here. I'm trying to comfort everybody. I tell Simber, well, hey, maybe they're counting to 1,000. Maybe they're still counting. Maybe there's a chance that we got this. But then it's time. A live shot of the X team pops up on the screen, and they all look very confident. They know that they just crushed that challenge, and we could see it on their faces. Then we hear the announcer.
Attention players. The result of the first game is as follows. One room was off by 2 seconds, the other by 12.
Yeah, there's no chance that was us, dude. Me and my friends gather together. We are not very confident. We're pretty much telling each other goodbye in this moment. But then, as we're waiting on our fate, boom, 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 boom. What sounds like fireworks start going on all around the dorm. And then my squid vest pops, shooting me in the face with black ink, and I fall to the ground as if I've been shot. Might I add, Oscar-worthy performance from myself. And then I lay there with my eyes closed. It's all over. In the very first game, I hear people complaining under their breath. I hear people laughing. I hear a lot of people crying. And as I get up, it looks like a massacre. Black ink is everywhere. People are looking at each other and realizing that they just lost. But what they don't realize is how slim their odds actually were. This game is hard, brutal, and intense. Sometimes your fate is just not in your hands, just like in this first game. We give each other hugs, we tell each other bye, as we can now clearly see our game is over. We're also realizing that a lot of us will probably never see each other in person again, which is a really hard reality to face. But as I'm escorted out and go back to where I was staying, it hits me. I was on Netflix. I was on Squid Game. As I get back to where I'm staying, it's around 11 p.m. And now, at this point, I have my phone back, so I FaceTime my wife, still covered in blood because I didn't want to waste any time showering. With the time difference, my wife is still at work. She answers in horror. Why are you calling me? Did you get out? Did you lose? Red light, green light? To which I tell her, we didn't play red light, green light. And just like that, I'm plugged back into reality. I'm still feeling this gut-wrenching sadness that I lost this game, but it's being counteracted by the relief of finally hearing my wife's voice again. I told her the whole story from the beginning, which she hated because I took like 2 hours and she just wanted to hear right then and there how I got out. We stayed on the phone until about 2 a.m. Then I showered finally and went to bed. On my way to be taken to the airport, I got to meet so many amazing people, one of which being someone I met earlier, but I didn't realize they were Miss World England.
So this is my friend Mila I just met. I didn't realize while we were in there that she was the Miss World England. She said, yeah, I speak at schools and I like to surf. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Hello, hi
So
everyone.
crazy.
It was such a pleasure to share this experience with Dylan, and obviously
Look at
this crazy experience that we've both shared together. I am so glad that amongst it all, I have now found a lifelong friend in Dylan.
She's a professional. She's doing the thing right now. I said, they don't realize she has a switch she's gonna turn on to be cutthroat. Look at this. Love it.
I got to meet one of the two people that was counting in our game. She was absolutely lovely, and I took that moment to say, hey, the sane people, none of us blame you for that game. She tells me the person who grabbed her was actually one of her friends. They had actually made an agreement that whenever he reached a count of 400, that he would tap her on the shoulder and let her know. Obviously, none of us knew that. Then I met a couple people who were taking the same flight as me.
Hi, we are the losers. Losers. Big time losers.
These people were amazing. We got to talk about each other's experiences through this whole process. I got to learn about their lives and about who they were as people. The father and son stuck by me the whole way home, and they understood that it was my first time flying, and so they basically just took me under their wing and helped me get my bag. They made sure I was going to the right places. They made sure that I found my gate. God bless these two men. They are the best. The flight home was actually longer. It was 10 hours because of storms. I watched Bluey because it reminded me of my daughter. This 10-hour flight was really my opportunity to find my grounding and to get woven back into my life. Getting back to the Dallas airport and finding my flight back to my small little town, I started hearing Southern accents again, seeing Trump shirts and American flag shirts everywhere. Then it finally sunk in that this experience was over. And I was sad about that. I really was. But before getting on set, I was prepared to play a game first. All I wanted was to get to the dorm. That's all I cared about. And I got that. Not only that, I spent the entire time in the dorm. So overall, I was fulfilled. Landing and finally seeing my wife after all this time was just such an amazing moment. She is such a grounding presence in my life. I'm so thankful for her. This was a once in a lifetime opportunity. I will never be able to experience something like this again. And I'm not bitter. I think a lot of people that would have gone through this experience, not to say that I'm better in any way, but they would always have in the back of their mind, I should have chose X. I would still be there if I chose X. But I haven't felt that because I have a phenomenal support group in my wife and my child, and I have them to focus on. And now I'm here back at home. And at the time of recording this, there is about 7 days left before the release of Squid Game The Challenge Season 2. So I'm going to watch the first episode because that's probably all I'm gonna be on. And then I will come back and tell you my thoughts. That was insane. Not only did I get to see myself on Netflix, but also on one of my favorite series of all time. And come on, our season is so much better than season 1, dude. Production blew this out of the water, from the writing with these new games, to the set designing, to the cinematography, to the new added scenes that we're getting from the guards and the front man. And the casting is unbelievable. I've been harping this entire time on all the amazing people I met, but now getting to see them as on-screen personalities, they're fantastic. Now that the show is out, I've gotten to reconnect with these people. I met up recently with my Arkansas Squiddies, Simber and Reagan. I'm in a little group chat right now with Simber and Dallas. We talk like every day. I've been put in mass group chats now with all of the cast members. And at the end of this month, I'm gonna go see Back in Black, the AC/DC tribute band that was all cast on this show in Texas. It's actually being turned into a Squid Game themed show because a lot of the cast are coming out to hang out as well. And a huge shout out to the season 1 cast members who have been reaching out and welcoming us into their world. People like Leanne and TJ are huge rays of sunshine, giving us words of wisdom and commenting on all of our stuff. Also want to shout out a couple of my friends that didn't come up in the narrative portion of this video. People like Emily, Kyle, Chris, and the asparagus farmer Gary. I'm dealing with a lot of mixed emotions, if I'm being honest. I'm upset that I went all that way just to lose in the first game. I didn't get any interviews. I don't have any close-up shots. I'm really only in the big group shots, and you have to zoom in to find me. But it's being paired with the fact that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I've gotten to meet amazing people, and the show is fantastic. If I had like one criticism, it would probably just be that they didn't use any of my amazing lines in this show. I'm so grateful for the support I've received from my friends and family. I was really expecting to get clowned on for losing in the first game, but I've gotten nothing but love, people reaching out and just telling me that they're proud of me. This experience was second to none. Thank you so much to Studio Lambert for picking me and having faith in me. Thank you to Netflix for putting on this amazing show. That's where I'll end it. Thank you to you for sticking it out and watching this entire video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment of what you want to know about this experience, and consider subscribing. Thanks, guys.